Hey guys, Broken Gamers back for another little bit of gameplay and tutorial. Looking at Tour 8 mainly today actually, with my second account. I'm going to look at the novice and intermediate tips and guides that I did about a week ago I think, and trying to implement some of that into the gameplay. One of my followers requested Tour 7 stroke Tour 8, so I'm going to do mainly Tour 8 today. And I think my clubs here are fairly similar to a lot of people who are playing Tour 8. I'll go to my bag in a minute. I'll go over now actually. So generally level 7 extra mile, sniper level 9 is my main bag. I then adapt it slightly with some slightly more accurate options with the rock level 6 and the quarterback level 9. My fourth bag is usually a longer wood option, which in this case is the horizon. I will start using the cataclysm at some point, but as you can see the top spin on the horizon is still pretty good and the ball guide is very good. So at the moment still using the horizon until the cataclysm's got up another level or two, and then finally the top spin club, the big topper, with the accuracy of the sniper following it up. Okay, so that's my 5 bags. Balls wise on this tour, I'm going to mainly use the Quasar and occasionally the Titan and Katana balls, so very much free to play balls, using Quasars whenever I can. And then if I feel like the opponent or the hole demands something a bit better, then I will use the Katana or Titan if needed. I believe that replicates, what you guys would do as well, or are willing to do in terms of the balls that you use. I do have some paid balls on this account, but it's all for tournament play. And in this particular case, most of them are for par 5s because my still with an extra mile 7, I'm really struggling there. The only one that's more of a par 3 ball is the season 32 ball, which I don't have that many of. So if I was going to purchase something more for this account, then it would probably be a power 1, possibly power 2 win 5 ball. Should probably have got a few of the NASCARs, but I did on my other 2 accounts, but not on this one. Okay, so that's kind of the setup. I do know Tour 8 fairly well. I've got okay notes on it. I haven't played it for a huge amount, but I'm also aware we're 9th of April 2021 today, and they've announced that the courses are going to change quite dramatically in the tours in the next season, which isn't far away at all. So this video might be fairly irrelevant fairly quickly, but I know a few of you might be quite keen to see how I approach holes that you know fairly well if you play a similar tour, and then you can sort of understand what I'm doing. But I understand as well that the holes I'm playing now aren't going to be particularly relevant to this tour anyway, going forward. However, I needed to grind a bit. It's coming towards the end of the season. On this pass, I've neglected this account a little bit in terms of grinding. It's more for tournament play. So I might try and cut, not necessarily today, but get a bit of a head start in getting a few of these, what they call challenges. They're the bigger monthly ones that all have very high points associated to them, ticked off by the end of the season, which is in 2 or 3 days' time. Right, okay, so let's do it. Let's head into Tour 8. As you can see, I've got my notebook app set up, and we're just going to try and do quite a few of those things that we were talking about in the tips thing. Okay, so looking at our opponents, looking at the hole, practicing perfect, concentrating, and just trying to do things with that extra fine touch, that extra bit of calculation and precision that will add maybe 10 to 20% of your win rate. Okay, so first of all, at this hole I'm quite happy with the quasar ball on this hole. It's not particularly demanding. Our opponent is a very experienced player, 7,000 games to Bang Bango's 2,000, but his win rate is, is I don't want to knock anybody, but it's not somebody who is, you really need to say, wow, they're got a 70-80% win rate, and you're kind of going to really be quite worried. I'm not saying I'm not worried. Again, I'm not trying to put anyone down. So on this hole, I always play right. You can get real problems with mixing clubs being in between max and minimum if you go left, and distance-wise, there's just, it's a nicer angle coming from this side, and you've got more forgiveness with a great left or a great right. So no matter what, right hand side. Okay, now I'm going to pull the ball back a bit because I know I'm going to need to adjust upwards, which I could do into OP, but my ball's going to be pushed right anyway. I can be a bit more pushy with this. So 10.0, I play a 10% on this hole just because of the crosswind as much as anything. So that's 5.3. See on my notebook up there, maximum, there, 5.3. Pull that down and just make sure I push up to max and then try and hit perfect. I'm going to put a tiny bit of OP on this. I hit a great left, which shouldn't be a problem. Always trying great left, great right proof your drives as much as possible. Okay, we're nicely at the top. I was just worried if I didn't put a little bit of OP on there, then I wouldn't make it up that hill and have a nice line in. But that's perfect, that's very happy with that. He's obviously got a big wind reduction ball, which is going to help him, but he's also playing with, he's got a level 9 big dog. Wow, he has done a load of games, hasn't he? Which is fine, doesn't matter, it's great. He's playing much more advanced clubs than us, and also a lovely paid ball, one of my favourite paid balls, but just not one I would use on this hole. Bit of a waste in my eyes. Now this hole is I tend to play 0% unless it's a big side wind or headwind, in which case I'll play 10%. At least he's landed on the fairway. He was a bit lucky with that one. I'll wait to see what my wind is. It's a bit of a headwind. I could play 10% here just to be safe. So max min, I'm about 40%. Is there a sticky bit? Slightly sticky bit here, which is quite nice. I'm going to play it through the hole, nicely in line with the wind, slightly. Yeah, I'm going to play 5% for that wind. We say we're at 40% slider, and it's a 4.4, so that's a 3.9. So I'm being a bit quick with some of these judgments, but there's quite a lot to do. Alright, so then try and hit perfect. That's got to have a half decent chance, isn't it? Oh, damn. I like it when those go in. So I actually didn't need to do that 5%. I actually over adjusted a little bit. So I think this hole pretty much plays 0% in terms of true elevation, but sometimes you add a bit of wind rather than an offset, like aim away from the hole for the wind to bring it back in. And I tend on this hole to use a bit of elevation, so you do a bit of extra adjustment to allow for the wind to push the ball back towards the hole if it's a headwind or side wind left or right. And last tournament I played 0% because it was a nice little tailwind, small tailwind in the direction of the hole, and it was perfect, it went in. So I thought maybe I'd add 5% for this one, but I don't think I needed to. It was such a low wind, I don't think it affected it hardly at all. Sorry, not sure if that makes complete sense to you, but hopefully it does a bit. Right, so anyway, it means we get to practice some shootouts, right? Which I guess is half the point of this. Which ones are they? I name my par 3s different things quite often in my notes. This is one yeah, okay. So I played this one 15% always. Try and find a nice little spot around here that's near to the trees but not too near. And then I offset. So it's going to be, I need to go higher than the pin by a fair bit. But I can't do any more right spin, so I'm going to have to curl. So 9.7, it's about 50%, which is a 9.3. I just know 50% on this. Sorry, I didn't do my checks, but it is about, it plays 50% anyway. 9.3. Now we're going into the trees with that adjustment, but we are doing quite a big curl right anyway. Let's curl around them. Great right. Come on, practice perfect. Right, so, okay, happy with that. I should probably have gone a little bit higher. A not great right would have gone more towards the hole. But I haven't played this one in a while, and sometimes just judging how much offset you need can be quite tricky to see when your ball guide can't get over to the hole. So as long as I'm within 3 yards on this one, I'm generally fairly happy, and then very happy if it's, you know, a yard or nearer. So I'm okay with that. Just gotta hit perfect more. I must admit, I hardly ever see people play right on this hole, and apart from when I've seen some great streamers do it, I haven't seen anyone use it particularly effectively in tour play. So it'll be interesting to see what happens here. But my confidence against this guy, but he is very experienced, isn't he? So he probably knows exactly what he's doing, and he'll get it, get a hole in one now. Or not. Yeah, it's not a consistent way to go. If you know the wind is going to be the same and you can dial that shot in, then great, absolutely great, which is what the streamers did. I think Tommy was the one I saw in the early days, and I tried to copy it in tour play, and well, did probably similar to what that guy did. Okay, so good start. Excuse me. One out of one. What should our target be? I'm reluctant to say 8 out of 10 like we did with the other one, and we hit 9 out of 10. Now we're on a 7 win streak. I didn't even realise that. We're on a 7 win streak anyway. Let's keep the target the same. Let's try and get 8 out of 10. But I am going to use the odd Titan Katana if I need to. That's my caveat. Right, straight back in. Good start, playing against a very experienced player with much better clubs, and him using a paid ball to our Quasar. It is a nice feeling when you win those. Oh no, this isn't so bad. I thought this was the hole I'm hoping we don't get tonight. Shouldn't say that, should I? Right, good luck back. Okay, this is, again, it wasn't even the hole I was thinking it was. So 10.5, 10.5, and now I will use the upward arrow just to give me an indication that it's going to go 6+ yards. So that's way over, right? And if I want it to land there, I'll do this properly. I could just visualize it going 6 yards up, but I'm going to go just over 6. I'll do 6, and then push back up in the line, and I'm going to put a little bit of right curl on it to keep it away from the bottom. Max OP. Definitely wanted a great right rather than a great left, but to be honest with you, you go past the end of this quite clearly anyway. I was never going to drop down into the bunker with that sort of tailwind. Okay, so here I can already start to visualize the elevation is roughly 0, right? But as I say, we may put an elevation on to play against the wind. Every time you put a bit of elevation on just to play against the wind, it's just a way of compensating, because you're going to be pulling against the wind every time. You just pull a little bit more to factor the wind pushing it back. Sorry if I said this 100 times and it's getting boring as hell, but it can be confusing sometimes, people using over adjustment like that, using extra elevation than they need to pull further than they normally would, or whether they physically aim a bit left or right of the pin or forward back from the pin to allow for that. Now I haven't done my thing here and checked out my opposition. Now we're obviously, it's a paid ball night. He likes his good lucks. Right, so looks like we're pretty much in the middle of our club. Haven't got quite so much backspin with the Grizzly, so just checking out how high we can go. So I don't want to risk anything, and I aim a little bit right because I think the ball comes down and then straightens up. So 10 with mid is a 9.1. I'm not factoring in any major elevation changes on this one. Okay, and just try and hit perfect again. Just go up that. It's very rare this goes in, but nice and safe. Not quite sure why that went so far left. I just don't feel that this up and down the bank at the back ever plays the way the ball guide shows. Bit late to be looking at the opponent, really. Nice guy anyway. I like somebody who gives you positive comments. Don't find it's all too common. So start thinking about the par 3s again. What ball did he have? What's the stats? Isn't it I don't know, I can't remember actually. So I think I started to say I tend to name my par 3s, and the last one we played isn't a particularly exciting name, but I just, when I write some very brief notes, I like to have names that I've called them to find the notes quickly. So this one, it's another boring one, I just call this the vineyards or the vines. Right, so we're fairly near minimum on this, but this is quite a straightforward hole. Just go pretty much to the hole with a little bit of an offset and then play 1-1. So wind 1-1 means the wind is 6.5, so I'm doing 6.5 rings, and again just trying to hit perfect. Let's see what we can do. Slow down, slow down, slow down. That was a bit quick, but again, once you're inside that sort of 2 to 3 yards, then it's about the average really. You're going to win most shootouts if you get within a couple of yards when you're playing around this trophy count. But definitely not all of them, so he's got a chance definitely to do this. I'm not quite sure why he's playing so far over, or has he already factored for the wind? Oh, he must have done. I always wonder why do people use curl and under power? Why don't you just aim better? Never mind. Okay, 2 out of 2, good start. Canary Islands. Okay, so again, Quasar Ball wins. When are we going to be forced to bring out our first Katana or Titan, do you reckon? Jim, maybe Jim will force us to do it. Oh, this is the dreaded hole. I hate this hole with a passion. It plays so differently with different... See, with other clubs and balls, I would play with one right, curl left but spin right to take it down a hill, but unless you get this far up anyway. So 5.4, sorry, let's just concentrate on where we are. So 5.4, let's say 6. So I'm now just going to visualize it landing 6 rings at sort of diagonal right, so like 10, 11 o'clock. I want it to be in the middle there. Okay, so going to play a bit of curl as well. I would rather a great left than a great right if I wasn't going to hit perfect. Just inside, and we roll. We're going to come out of the rough. So what I was trying to say there is normally with a better ball and better clubs like an APOC or an extra mile 8 or 9 where you can just hit further, you can hit it further up the hill and not have to bend it left to avoid those trees in the middle, and put some right spin on it to take it straight down that hill and away from the left bunker. I think this guy might be going for a power hook. Again, don't see too many of that on this. Oh no, he's not. He's playing up the right hand side, is he? Oh, I haven't seen that before. And wishing my opponents all the best. I hope they don't see it again. Right, now I'm not going to use Endbringer rule here, because I'm going to use the line of the wind. I can't get the straight ball guide. Damn. Now I wish I had used the Endbringer. Right, I'm just going to go in the direction of the wind, which doesn't need to be that far. Let's do that. It's glitching all over the place. Just going to do that and then push up in a line of the wind. This is a bit of a guess, sorry. It should be more accurate than this. I should have gone with the Endbringer rule to start with. Oh. Well, this shot's trash all over, isn't it? I was short and I was right. The amount of times I play with the Endbringer, decide not to use Endbringer rule and then regret it is absolutely a lot. Oh, he can see his way through the trees. Maybe he did that on purpose. I don't know. He doesn't appear to have adjusted up. Is he not going to land in the bunker? Oh, he's using boost instead. Well, I'm sure he'll take that. The thing with doing boost and stuff when you're in the rough like that is you're not following the ball guide that you were shown. You're going to be hitting it much higher and harder. So you could easily be clipping a tree that you didn't know you were clipping. It's the same with using curl in the trees and the rough like that. is you think, oh, the ball guide shows nice and straight, and then you curl it to the right and it clips the bush or whatever on the right or left. So I wouldn't have used that tactic, but so be it. He's obviously done very well. Right, let's see if we can find a par 3 where what I've named it is slightly more exciting and you can see why I do it. Well, not why I do it, but instead of something that's just called vines in a vineyard. Alright, so this one is what I just call the big bunker. Again, not particularly exciting, but it's one huge great bunker and defines this hole quite clearly. And there's another one, even though this has got quite a lot of water on, there's another one that has a ton of water and you just land on the green just over it, which obviously I call water. So it's silly little names, but it just makes me find my notes quickly. So on this big bunker, I actually used to play 10%, but I tend to play 20% in tougher winds. So anywhere between 10 and 20. So if I have a tailwind now of, like he's got, I've probably got slightly more wind because he's got a better ball than me, but it's probably going to be around 6 to 7. So I'll probably only play 10% because it's a tailwind as well, not a crosswind or a headwind. But I will offset, instead of using extra wind, I will offset with my ball guide going short or to the side of the... Alright, so we're at max, which is handy actually because obviously we couldn't adjust up from here, which can often be the problem in this hole. But I'm going to bring it back a little bit and we're going to aim roughly 2 to 3 squares against the wind short of the hole, and that's my offset. Okay, 5.8, we're at max, 10% or near max, so let's play a straight 6. Okay, you see that on there? So it's not quite at max, max is 6.2. So I'm going to play 6. Okay. And again, let's at least get within 3 yards. Oh, a great right, but I mean, we're going to win this one anyway because of what he did, but oh, that's not so good. 2.57. Would have been a bit closer if it hadn't been a great right. It goes to show actually, maybe I should have played 15% on that one because it went beyond the hole with the tailwind. So if I'd adjusted back a little bit more, then it might have been better. So maybe on your notes you could do something like, right, wind 0 to 5, play, you know, with a tailwind or whatever it is, wind with a 0 to 5, play 0% elevation, sorry, 0% extra elevation to the 10%. If it's 5 to 10 wind, maybe play 15%, and 10 plus wind, play 20%. And then in your notes, you can adjust that as you have different experiences. You can say, oh, actually, yeah, you know, I under-adjusted or over-adjusted that one, so maybe, you know, 8 and above we play 20%. Okay, so that's how you can use your, you know, do your notes a little bit. They don't have to be extensive notes, just, you know, little notes that you can sort of say, right, you know, yeah, as I just said, below 5 wind equals the normal 10%. Okay, so not too hard. Sorry if I was waffling on a bunch then. I'll show you some of my notes at some point. I might pause the video at some point and show you how I've done my notes so that it's visually nice and easy, but I will warn you, they're a bit rough and ready. Right, what are we doing? I'm going to open some of these chests. I need to progress this account a little bit. And we are playing a highest tour, so yeah, let's open, see what we can get. Try and open some of the more exciting ones for you guys here. much going on. No, not really worth using your gems on those, but I've got a few gems at the moment, so I'm just trying to open a few chests to push my clubs forward a little bit. But I don't generally do that. It's only when I'm grinding a bit like this and, you know, I'm missing out on Tour 8 chests if I don't open some up. I'm not generally someone who opens up a whole bunch of chests. I try and spread out my play across my 3 accounts so that, you know, you don't really have that issue of missing out on chests because you've got a full stack already being opened. Okay, so that's 3 out of 3, right? Ooh, maybe I will get this 8 out of 10. Just completely jinx myself, right? And what have we got here? Still 3 out of 3 with a Quasar ball, which is nice. Let's see if we can... Is that 3 out of 3 paid balls we can't? Because, oh no, the last guy had a better ball than us, but... Oh, this one can be tricky. No, we've got a headwind, so I'm not going to play with the big topper, which I'd often do on this hole. Instead, just going to play as far up as we can. It's a headwind, so that ball's going to stop fairly abruptly. So let's check the elevation. Yeah, 10%, 5.5, so 2.9. See that on there? 2.9 at max. I might come away a little bit to allow for a great left, great right. 2.9, and then rotate to a straight line and push up to make sure you're at max. I'm going to put a tiny OP with a bit of curl. OP is something you just become confident with in terms of hitting perfect or a small great left or a small great right. So just play within your comfort zone, whatever you want to call it, and allow, you know, if you haven't allowed for a bit of great left or great right or it's tight, then just don't risk it. But there I felt I'd allowed for a great left or great right. So, and it wasn't a big OP. I didn't want to go into that rough. But this guy's got, oh, he's playing with a safe ball. That means, yeah, high win percentage and fairly experienced, slightly better developed clubs than me. It's one of those things where you see a stay safe ball, basic ball, and you sometimes more worried than you are when you see a paid ball come out. Is that going to make it down? Yeah, I didn't... If he's got that, then he must have a big topper as well at a higher level than me, and I would have at least gone for that. Okay, so you can never make it. It's a bit of a tricky one to get this ball. You know, do you want to land on the rough and come out, or do you go over and worry about the distance? I tend to try and hit the rough. Okay, so 3.6. It's going to ball extend a little bit. If I look at the top, so I'm just going to go 4 on this. And is there an opportunity to curl? Yeah, we'll curl a bit. You've got to visualize that curl line, practice visualizing it, because you've got to, sometimes you have to bring your ball out. Ooh, I missed the rough. You have to bring the ball out so that it allows for the curl and you don't take the corner too sharply. It's just like a driver's racing line. Sometimes to make it round a corner nice and smoothly, you have to, you know, visualize that curl. Whereas sometimes if you try and cut the corner, you might hit a tree, or the other side you might not come out in time in the rough, or so forth. So just, yeah, kind of get used to that. I've got a tough putt here. I'm not... Yeah. It's one of those things really where I think when you're a slightly more novice player, see how it's shaking? When you're a slightly more novice player, and I promise you, I don't mean to be derogatory here, but when you're a slightly more novice player, you get a lot more practice at those long putts. Sometimes when you play a slightly more educated game, your experience is there and you understand things more. You don't often end up that far away from the pin very often. So when you have one of those shaky putts, it's all kind of like, oh, forgotten what to do here. I do find the timing of a putt needle very different, and different to follow than your normal needle as well. So anyway, I'm quite pleased I got that one in. We might not make a shoot-off on this one if he doesn't get this one in. He hit a great right. Oh my lord. I do believe a perfect may have been a bit left as well though, because that was quite a long shot. I'll let him play again if he wants to. He's a good player and it's good experience. I'll do it. See if he wants a rematch. No. Okie dokes. Is that a 4? Yeah. We're up to 10. It's always nice to have a double figure win streak. I know I didn't do these all on the show, but I think I was 6. I was 6 win streak before we kicked off today. And all of those 4 done. The quasar. Let's try and talk about the holes a bit more and how we play safe. I don't really have the followers to sort of take questions as we go along, but on the stream live. But maybe one day, you never know. I could kind of do things that you want me to do, or talk specifically about how to work out different situations. I could even put myself in those situations if possible, and then go from there. This was in a tournament recently, Vineyard. This is 1 par 4 eagle that has eluded me. Very close many times. This is definitely one where I could potentially do with using a katana ball. I don't know whether to do it just so that we can show you things. I'm going to use a katana ball, and he's using a kingmaker, so I'm still a lesser ball than my opponent. Is that alright? You let me get away with that? I hope so. Anyway, right, let's bring out the katana because I want the right spin and bring my ball out a bit to allow for that great right. And now I can curl a fair, I'll probably say that's about a full ball curl because it's quite far away. 8.3 with a 10% is a 4.5. Not sure if I can push up a little bit, yeah. And especially because we've got a big, I'm not going to go quite a full ball, what I would call a full ball. Don't need any OP. So that should stay fairly close to the rough. Yeah. I could have gone with a full ball. This is a really good hole to do a power slice actually. but you need to know it in the different winds, and that's not something I can show you very quickly. But what we want to do is set this up. Right, now we've got a headwind, which I wasn't really hoping for. Where he's shooting is roughly where I used to shoot all the time. But now I tend to play in the middle and to the right a lot more. It seems to give you a better, like this one always comes back down nicely but never ends up in the hole. And if he does now, I'll quit. Alright, I'll quit Golf Clash. Go on, hit perfect. I mean, at the end of the day, that's as good as any shot really, because they never go in. But let's see if I can do a... How far up are we? No, not really happening. Okay, 7.0, fairly near max, and I'm gonna add a bit extra because it's a headwind. So was it 6.9 at max, and then I'm just gonna play a small OP and a bit of a curl left to counter the headwind. Roll, 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 roll. Damn. Need to get further up that bank. But you see what I mean? It's a nice shot that can come back towards the hole. I am going to get an eagle on that at some point, I hope. Okay, so it looks like we're heading to a shootout. So if we can get five in a row. Okay, yeah, this is quite interesting, this one. This depends on the wind direction. And in this particular case, I'll play it down the bottom here. And I'll play it at 15% max. So in this case, 6.2, which is 7.1 plus 0.2, so 7.3. And I'll offset a little bit. So that's I'd say that's to hole. So I'll go in that direction just a little bit. Okay, I can't go any more right, so I'm just going to probably put a tiny curl on it as well. 7.1, so just down here. It's going to be real baby curl, right? There, that's it. Slow, 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 please slow. Thank you. This is an interesting one because there's lots of holes that you play in different winds and have to do different setups. But this sort of 15% max plus 0.2 is something that I'm pretty sure Golf Clash Tommy did in a tutorial close to when I first started playing this game, which is not that long ago. And okay, there's situations where with the wind you just can't adjust using that, but generally it works pretty well in all situations. The ones that it doesn't would be like when the wind's coming from the south east and you just can't get your ball guide to get down that far, you know. It just doesn't go that far back and it doesn't go that far down, and then you end up having to use, you know, like the rough bump or something on the right hand side. But again, I'd play 15% on that hole no matter what. Okay, I'll rematch if he wants to. No. No one wants to. Oh, that rematch challenge. Any of you guys get that rematch challenge? Oh, it's pain. Such a pain. Why should a challenge you've been given be up to whether someone else accepts your challenge or not? What are we up to? 6, 5. No. Yeah. 5. 5 wins? Yeah, 5 wins. Let's switch back to the Quasar. We're doing alright. If I win the next one, then set everything back. Then I only need to win my last 50% of my last 4 games to get my target. Surely that can be done, right? UK's finest. Okay, Dan. You may have noticed my clan on this one's different to my other clan. So my other 2 accounts play with awesome clan called England United. If anyone ever wants to join. They've got 2 clans. So there's one for just chilling, but the first one's in Master 3 and stays there fairly happily, but there's never any big push, sort of you must do this, must do that. They just want you to be a fairly regular player and contribute a bit. And then they've got an even easier clan that if you want to take a bit of a break from the game or whatever, then you just sit in England United too. But this clan is part of the 19th family clan, another awesome clan. I think they've got over 30 clans. So it's nice to be part of a clan that has, you know, a big infrastructure and stuff going on as well. I hope he doesn't mind, but Jesse Booth runs the one I'm in actually, the Blue Can Crew, very famous streamer. Right, so I think on this hole I'll pop my big topper on because I don't think we're gonna, with a bit of OP, we're not at risk of hitting that rough. It's a fairly big opportunity to, you know, hit a great left or right and still be okay, but you do have to be careful with the big topper because the accuracy is so trash. That if you hit a good or a double great left or right, then that might happen. Uh-oh. Losing my concentration. Okay. I guess it's one of those ones where you could look at this in 2 ways. One, I should have just played safe because he'd gone into the rough and I'd have won this hole no problems whatsoever. And I didn't, and I didn't need to push too much. Or 2, that because he'd gone into the rough, I could take a few more risks and it was never going to mess me up too much. So at least that is the case. But he's playing with a special ball to my Quasar. So yeah, in hindsight, I should probably... Do we think he's going to get there? Should I go for this and see if we roll down? Why not? This is a risk hole, so let's just keep it risky. Uh-oh. Okay. Well, it's nice to take a risk every now and again. I guess it was never going to get down that hill. I hadn't quite envisaged it hitting the bunker like that. I wanted to show you a shootout, that's it. That's exactly what I was playing for. And some bunker shots. We haven't had many bunker shots. Wow, big. Unless we get a ball guide here, which takes us to the hole, which we're not, then I'd rather play with backspin and make sure I mean, it doesn't matter too much here because, you know, 10.8, we're probably at barely at minimum. So I saw that at 2. Let's come back at 2. Feel like I want to just scrap this hole. Yeah, really not having a good hole. However, it's the risk you run with playing a continuous stream, right? You can't always do things and just pause things and say forget this hole. You've got to see the good, the bad and the ugly. But we chose to play risks on this one, and I should have taken that first drive nice and easy, and we'd be heading on to the 7th game now. I haven't looked at my opponent yet. I'm going to do that very quickly before we head into the shootout, because he's using a special board as well. So a couple of thousand games, 44% win rate. Just want to know you're not playing an absolute beast. What ball was it? Was it the ruby ball? No. Okay. Big downhill hole this one, which I tend to play at. And he's got a wind resistance ball. Nice. I tend to, this is a really tough hole this one. I'm going to put my 30% in. And I like to do a rough bump on the left here if it's a tailwind without too much wind. There's a bit of a funnel in the rough that is very consistent. I can give you a hole-in-one a lot of the time if you've got a nice wind, but because we tend to be near max club at that rough bump with the sniper, you can't adjust up anymore. The problem with this hole is you get a really nasty glitch bounce to the right, and I don't play this hole that much, but I remember where it is. So if the rough bump's here, but you see I couldn't adjust up. Alright, I'm gonna go there. I'm gonna keep it. A couple of squares beyond because of the headwind. 9.3, roughly 50%. Sorry, it's a 10.6. Right, we need to be a bit quick now. I don't put any curl on it because I think it's fairly straight. So I'm going to guess the 0.6 over the 10. I'm running out of time. And to be honest with you, I just wanted. See, there's that glitch right again. Alright. Okay. I officially hate that hole with that glitch bounce. Damn. Sorry, I feel like I've shown you something really bad, which is, it was bad. Okay, I know we've done well on one. What was it? 5 out of 6? But still. Can't remember if I won. I think it was 5 and then lost 1. It just shows can always go wrong. I like that hole as well generally. I need to remember where the slightly more even landing position is that doesn't give you that horrible kick to the right. Right, let's get back on track. I feel like that hole was destined to be trash from the word go. Alright, another good old paid ball. Alright, this is interesting because I'm just looking at my screen and seeing that the extra mile is on there now. Did I forget to change my extra mile over to my big topper on the last one? 11.4 up, 7.3. So you can see here, if I boost, I'll probably make it over. But if I don't boost, 7 rings up is probably going to hit the rough or green. So I'm going to boost this and try and make it all the way over. I think I have a glutton for punishment on this hole. Right, nicely over. I mean, Playdemic, Golf Clash, they obviously put those things in the perfect places. Those rough are going to come into play quite a lot of the time. And because of the extension you get for a big tailwind, most people will think they've adjusted backwards enough to bounce before that, but the wind will just carry them that extra bit. And that's when I do use, especially with a tailwind on this app. So where you have a wind, let's look here, of 7, and you've got a 3.3, but you put the upward arrow and it goes all the way up a whole ring to 4.2. That's when, with the big tailwinds, that's when I do often use the upward arrow on this app. I don't tend to use it too much. Definitely never use the left or right arrows, but just to give you a bit of a guide. Right, so we're at max there and we've got a tailwind, so we're fine. And try and line up as much as I can with the wind. So there we're in line with the wind. Bit short of the hole because we're downhill and play at the hole. So 9.6 at max, 20%, so 12.3. Do that. 1, 2, 3. Okay, 3. Okay, I know I'm running out of time. Great left. Oh. Needed to be much. It was such a downhill tailwind that I needed more offset than that anyway. Tough ones to play those, but I would like to have been a bit closer and hit a great. My adjustments took me too long. But we head into another shootout, so that's okay, and a chance to win 6 out of 7. Let's get into a better frame of mind, because that's when you can start to really get on the losing streak. You get in that bad frame of mind of the last hole. Let's be positive again. We're going to win this. Okay, which one is it? We're back to the one we talked about a minute ago, so let's see what the wind is. 15% no matter what. Okay, Okay, yeah, that's okay. So put the red ring just before the rough, and then I can't get much more over to the right, but I know I need to offset beyond, so I need to curl right to combat that. So 8.3, what's a 15% max is a 9.3 plus 0.2 is a 9.5. I'm going to have to be happy with anything here that's sort of within 3 yards, because I'm curling against the wind. It's very hard to... Oh man, stop hitting great rights. Practice what you preach and be a bit more specific. Okay, so what, 4.5 yards? Yeah. Bit too much curl on that, and it's because it's quite a long hop. The great right that I did was exaggerated quite a lot. So if I hadn't hit the great right, then I would have at least been within 3 yards. However, he's playing with a power 0, win 5 ball. That's alright, I'm still confident. Just a bit annoyed. It's going way over. Okay, so 6 out of 7. Back on a winning roll. That's all we wanted to do, right? Hitting a lot of greats at the moment. If you can ride when you're having a bit of badder play and push on through, then you're doing alright. Again, he had a win 5 ball, and we stuck to our quasar, which is nice. Six out of 7. I feel like I've got my counting completely wrong. I'm not sure I'd play with a rock on this. And another paid ball. I think this one's a power 5 win 3. Why use the rock when you want all of that distance that you're now trying to get by smashing OP? Good shot though. Okay, right, let's come back a bit so we can visualize. So a fair bit of curl, probably 1 ball of curl, 5.5, 10%, 2.9 at the top there. Okay, I pulled it back so just to make sure I am at max. Just came back a bit so I can make my adjustment cleanly. Okay, and then I'm going to go almost a whole ball of curl. I could have gone into a bit of OP there, but again, you're just quite close to that rough. But so, okay. It's a nice clean way, but you're going to be adjusting into the trees. If he adjusts. Are you going to adjust, mate? And then will you, yeah, there we go. Actually, no, it doesn't interrupt that ball guide. That looks alright. In terms of the first bounce, if he hits perfect. Cool, just cleared the rough. Yeah, well played. Well played. When you go through the trees like that and you have to adjust quite a bit to the side, you worry quite significantly about, you know, right, we're pretty much at max about clipping the trees because the ball won't be come back in line all the way through the trees. So 11.6, I'm just going to, looking at that, it's showing 14. So I'm going to do a 13 and a little curl to the right. Here it's damage limitations really. I'm hoping just to have a putt at the hole. Or a nice chip. He's played very well. Okay, I'm going to take that. Okay, what are we going to do? What do we got the end ringer on this one? I could do with a rapier sometimes on these because the ball guide is just so long. See, there's a bit glitchy there? There's a glitchy there, look. So I'm going to go, I want to avoid that at all costs. So I'm going a bit nearer the hole, taking off a little bit. You know, the more you come back and have more topspin, the more smaller your rings get, and therefore the more you're allowed to do a great left or great right. So you try and pull back as much as possible and do as much topspin as possible, but in that case, if there's any form of glitch, try and avoid it at all costs. Okay. Shootout. Oh, here we go again, 30%. Right, oh, it's a headwind again. And you guys, I need some of you guys to tell me. I thought the nice spot was here before it tore off to the right. See, that's going crazy. Right. Going to play it way over here for an offset. 11.3, 50% is a 12.8. Be a bit quick again. 12. Okay, let's do it like that. Might curl a tiny bit against the wind. That's a bit better. Still glitched right. Not glitched right, but bounced right. I do think that's generally enough to win this hole, but I just don't understand. Yeah. See, over nearer the rough on the left looks so much more smoother. Maybe that's where I should be playing. It's one of those holes I need to take a bit more time to make some notes on. Just never have done. Yeah, he did exactly the same. That big kick to the right. It's just where I pray for a tailwind to do the rough bump and avoid that whole area whatsoever. At least I redeemed myself a small bit on that hole and got a win. So 7 out of 8. 2 more holes and we're done. I'm sure you were done ages ago. But all good. Can we win 1 out of 2 to get our 80% target? If you want to make sure you don't play a replay or a robot, whatever you want to call it, then don't let that matchmaking go on forever. "10 to 15 seconds is usually max if you want to hit a live person. Come on. You guys can just fast forward till you see some action play, but this is annoying. Come on, play Demic. Okay. Right, I'm just going to pause this video until I found one to save you guys being bored. Wow, typically the very next try it matched me straight away. Alright, game 9. It's giving us the same courses a lot. It's a bit of a shame. We've had this one 3 times. I have said that you do tend to get the same ones quite a lot, and if they're courses you don't like or you're on a losing streak, then turn the game off, and then next time you play it'll probably be different holes that you'll generally play. Like Grunberg is the other set of holes. I don't think we played on that. We definitely haven't played a par 3, a single par 3 on it yet. It's all been Vineyard and Eagle Peaks. Just don't want to keep showing you the same stuff, but anyway. Could we, given that it's not a headwind, looks like we can make it over on this one, so should we do that for a change? We are going to need to do max OP, but our opponent hasn't gone crazy. Where are we? 6.6, so 2.7. Let's go in the middle. Actually, looking at that, maybe it is a tiny headwind, but really small. Yeah, top spins put in. Okay, let's give this a boost. Boom, 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 boom. Oh! Blah, 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 blah. Okay. You know what, for the sake of this video, let's see what they do. Damn, that was a bad needle. The word good couldn't be anything more than total rubbish. been saved by my opponent's play. Can I push down? Yeah, I can push down at least. Is that? It's a negative wind, isn't it? So let's just put it here. I might curl it a bit to the left. 5.0 max is a 3.5. Definitely don't want to be messing around with any OP here, but we can push that up. Curl. My ability to hit perfect has literally gone out the window. If anything, this video shows you it's if you play consistently and fairly intelligently, even if you hit a lot of greats, you can still get a good win percentage. I'm always intrigued by the red line. Some people, hit those red lines and it goes exactly where that red line goes, but it's not yellow and it's not, if it's properly blocking it, it won't show a ball guide, but anyway. Right, so max is way up there, probably at about 30%. I like to play a 3 backspin if it's fairly flat with a thorn at the hole. 6.3 now. It's a crosswind, so I'm gonna put 20% on this, and it's 30% slider ish, so 2.7. So that 20% is just to do extra because I'm at the hole for the wind, nothing else. I wasn't trying to pretend that this was 20% downhill. Boom. See how that works? That 20%, just because it was a side wind, it's always a bigger impact. So for starting off rubbish, we didn't even go to a shootout and reached our target, 8 out of 9. I will still do the last one. See if we can match our tall 6 play with a 90% record. And we've only used one, we've used 8 katanas, 8 quasars and 1 katana. And if I'm learning anything from myself, it's don't use the big topper. I think at the level of the big topper that we've got, which is 4, you just need the accuracy to be a bit better, really. Especially if you're floating with any OP. And then a great ball just doesn't cut it. Here we go, another pay ball. This bubba ball is everywhere and it's the current ball, isn't it? So I guess that's why, but okay. I'm not going to use the big topper. Even though this might be an instance where I might consider using, that's basically just over, right? So now I need to look how many 4.3, how many rings into OP am I going to make this 4.3? Just one ring, but it's a headwind, so I'm going to do more. Probably 3 or 4 rings. I'm going to curl right, just to try and keep this as safe as possible. It's just when you don't go very far up this fairway, you are much more prone to come back down into that bunker. Sorry, into that rough by the bunker. Just got to hope for that. And the further up you go to the right, the more likely you are, which is why I didn't aim too high on that bank. Oh, he's got a nice tailwind to get there anyway. I thought we might finish off his 10 holes without having to go into a shootout, but what's he doing here? Not entirely sure what he's doing here. Is he not going to just go straight into the bunker? Is he going to try and whack it all the way over? Wow, that was never going anywhere but the bunker. Maybe he's trying to do a challenge, but you wouldn't do it with a bubble ball. Right, so we can't quite get over naturally. But I know that we can go from here and judge our backspin. Okay? So we need a fair bit of backspin. I'm just going to try and get on the green. Okay, so 11.9 up is going to send me about 13, 14 rings. Okay, so basically from here, wow, I don't think I need to put any, no, I'm going to put a tiny bit of OP on it, but only a tiny bit. I just had to visualize where it was going, you know, on the rings above, because I couldn't adjust up anymore because I'm at max. So you have to visualize 14 rings up to the right, which is quite hard to do, but you do get used to it. Obviously the slightly safer play would have been to go to the right side of the bunker and just curl it near the green or just on the green for safety play, but I do like a visualization hole like that. Okay. Oh, we hit perfect. Okay. Alright, well, we didn't have to go to the shootout in the end. There we go. 9 out of 10. On tour 8 with a quasar ball 90% of the time and a katana. I'm sorry I didn't hit perfect a bit more than I did, just to practice that perfect. But it does show you, if you know your hole, take your notes, play fairly conservatively, allow for the great lefts and great rights as much as you can, that you can still have a fantastic win percentage and just generally do fairly well, even if you've got equal or minimal clubs compared to them. And well, if you're playing with a quasar, we saw one person with a safe ball, but we probably saw 6 or 7 paid balls and 1 or 2 katanas. So just goes to show, don't worry about your opponent's clubs or balls, but do use them a little bit to know when to take risks and when to really worry that, okay, they're a seriously tuned in player because they've got an 80 or 90%, and you just need to focus that a little bit more on that hole and play a little bit more sensibly, or take a risk when you wouldn't normally take a risk because you know they're probably going to do something, you know, really good. Okay, anyway, that's enough for that one. And I know the tour holes are changing. Sorry, the tour courses are changing. This won't be that particularly relevant, but hopefully, you know, you might just be able to review some of it and see how you play and think about those holes that you've been playing for quite a while on Tour 8, and maybe, you know, adapt that and use that to other holes and other courses that you play. Take care, guys. See you later.